Hello and welcome to the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show. I'm Linda Marchak, the company president. Let me tell you about my background. My background is very vast. I had started working in my younger days working for attorneys, obtained my paralegal certificate from Penn State University, and then in 2005 became a licensed title insurance agent. As a licensed title insurance agent, as well as the company, Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, being licensed in the state of Pennsylvania, we are able to handle real estate closings. Some of the questions that I get are, what type of clients am I looking for? So the clients that I'm looking for would be buyers of residential or commercial real estate closings, and those buyers can be either purchasing or refinancing real estate. In Pennsylvania, it is a buyer's choice to choose the title company that they want to go to. A lot of times people do not know what a title insurance company does. Sometimes they kind of think of us as a realtor. No, we are not a realtor. So as a title insurance agent, we are the ones that will do the title search work and handle the real estate closing. A majority of our referrals come from our realtors and from the loan officers in the area. The services that we provide are real estate closings, purchases and refinances. What counties do we cover? Our businesses is located in Schuylkill County with offices in Tamaqua, Pottsville, and we have an office in Lancaster. We cover Schuylkill County and all of the surrounding counties. So we would cover counties and closings in Luzerne, Columbia, Northumberland, Carbon, Lebanon, Lehigh, Northampton, and any county in Pennsylvania we're able to do closings for. What is my mission statement? My mission statement is very simple. I am one that likes to get things to closing on time pursuant to a date on an agreement of sale. I like to be flexible in my schedule, so I don't have normal working hours of the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I am flexible in closing at my office or at a bank or at a realtor's office, whichever is more convenient for our clients. And I try to close with no drama. So if there's something that comes up in the title search work, and perhaps we have a legal issue. We have a property that was jointly owned, mother and children, brothers and sisters, and somebody has unfortunately passed away. We've now identified a title issue of inheritance tax. So we have our local friend, attorney Christine Holman, that we can refer you to, and she will get done what needs to get done in terms of the legal work, and we close timely. We don't like to try to delay closings. We don't like to try to push off closings. We know that buying a home is a very important moment in people's lives, and we are dictating and driving our work based on those agreement of sale deadlines because people have already factored in moving, new furniture, different types of construction or renovations to a home. So all of those things are not only important to you as our buyers and our clients, but they're important to us. Some of the questions that we get are what do we do? So the first part of the process would be we would open your file and we order the title search work and we order any tax and utility certifications. All of that gets processed through the courthouse records and through the mail, and we start gathering all of that information. Once the title search is completed, we will review the title search and then get that information to any lenders that would need title documents or to buyers who would be buying the property. Once we get the title search completed, we arrange for a closing date and we schedule a date and time for your closing. Once we know what your closing date is, at that point we're then coordinating all of the information between the various parties of the transaction. So on any given file, we are dealing with sellers and buyers. We're perhaps dealing with your listing agent realtor, selling agent realtor, a loan officer. And so we are the big coordinator of all the people and all of the financial aspects of a closing. So we will put together all of the figures for purchase price, closing costs, and anybody that needs to be paid as part of the closing. At settlement, we'll get all of the paperwork signed. We are issuing title insurance that is free and clear, saying that you have good title to the property, and then we're acting as the escrow agent, receiving the money and dispersing the money. So having said all of that, there's a lot that goes into a real estate transaction, but again, having somebody like Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement handle that work, we are in contact with you from the beginning of the process, through the process, till the end and at settlement. We know communication is very important, and at any time, if any of our clients have any questions, we encourage them to call us, email us, text us. We remain flexible in trying to get answers back to people and our clients as quickly as possible. Once we get you through settlement, possession takes place on the day of closing, and keys are turned over to the buyer. So it's a very happy occasion, and it's one of those feel-good moments at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement to say, listen, we've gotten the job done and we've closed on time. We're going to take a break. You're watching the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show, and we'll be back with more information for you on real estate closings. Welcome back to the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show. I'm Linda Marchuk, President of Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement. I'm also the Schuylkill County Treasurer. So we want to continue on with educating you on real estate closings, purchases, sales, refinances. So what we want to talk about are a couple things related to those real estate closings. So why use Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement for your real estate closings? So we have a couple different types of properties that can be in a real estate closing. So the first one we're going to talk about is a commercial real estate transaction. So I have experience working in some of our larger commercial real estate transactions. I've been fortunate to have a couple good clients throughout the years doing a number of projects here in the town of Tamaqua and throughout Schuylkill County. And a commercial real estate transaction becomes a little bit more involved, not so much from our real estate settlement side of it. So as I talked earlier in the segment, we still will open our file, process a file, and close our file. But in some of our real estate transactions, we're working with attorneys, and we're working with other experts such as an accountant, an architect, a surveyor, and those type of people that put together a commercial transaction. So Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement is very familiar with commercial transactions, and we would be glad to help you with a real estate transaction. The second type of a transaction would be a residential real estate closing. So on a residential real estate closing, that would be a single family home, and that would be any type of apartment complex where they call it a 1 to 4 family residence. Once it becomes over a 4-unit residence, then that kicks into a commercial transaction. So on a residential real estate closing, we are again going through that same process of opening a file, processing a file, and closing a file. However, in this particular transaction, most time people are looking at that as this is going to be my home. This is where I'm going to live at. So it might be a starter home. It might be a home that you're now going to sell that starter home and buy a bigger home because your family has grown. There are now children in the family and we just need more space. So we'll handle, at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, a real estate closing for you. And then the last type of real estate closing we can do is just merely vacant land. So we're either looking at vacant land from a building lot where you're going to buy the lot now and save some money to go build that dream home of yours, or we're looking at a vacant lot where perhaps we're now going to subdivide that and sell off lots through a subdivision or a land development plan. Those types of transactions then lead me to the next question that I have is, what type of transaction would we consider the real estate closing to be? So we have three types of transactions at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement. The first one and the easiest one is our cash real estate closings. You're looking to buy one of those commercial, residential, or vacant land properties. You have the cash in the bank, so we do a cash settlement. Those are the easiest and the quickest. The second type of transaction that we would have would be a real estate purchase with a lender or financing involved. Those types of transactions can take anywhere from 45 to 60 days from the date that you have an agreement of sale. And those are a little more involved because now you're dealing with a lender, and the lender is going to have certain requirements for you to provide all of your initial paperwork at application. They'll order an appraisal, and then once you've gotten your approval, then we're ready to go and schedule settlement. The last type of transaction would be a refinance. You already own your home, and interest rates are very low these days. So if you're at something that's 4.5% or over, you might want to consider refinancing, where you can get a new loan at a lower interest rate, and we're seeing rates 3%. Give or take a little bit depending on the lender and your area and your credit score. And by refinancing, what your goal is to take your existing mortgage balance, refinance that for perhaps a shorter term and for a lower interest rate, and thereby that's going to lower your monthly mortgage payment. So if you have any questions, our phone number is going to be on the screen. Please feel free to give us a call, 570-668-5381, and we can certainly review any specific details you have that I just talked about related to commercial transactions, residential transactions, vacant land, and then how are we going to structure those settlements? Is it a cash transaction, a purchase with a lender, or a refinance? We're here to help you and make the process smooth and easy. So the next question we would have is, I'm a seller and I want to sell my home, and what do I do? So at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, if you're looking to sell your home, the two responsibilities that you have as seller on a transaction would be preparing an agreement of sale and having a deed preparation done. So you're going to start out with deciding, first of all, whether or not you want to try to list the property yourself and do a for sale by owner, or whether or not you want to contact a realtor who is licensed in the state of Pennsylvania, who will give you a free market analysis and tell you what the property is worth when comparing that to some recent sales within your area. Once you've decided what you're doing in terms of listing your property for sale by owner or a realtor, now you're going to wait for a potential buyer to come along and make you an offer on the property. Once you and the buyer have agreed upon a number, that's when the agreement of sale is executed, and then that's when our title company would get involved. Once you have a signed agreement of sale, that's sent to Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement. And as seller, you typically don't have a control over who you're selecting as your settlement agent. You can certainly make referrals and you can certainly make recommendations of Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, but it would be buyer's choice as to where they go for the closing. If you're a buyer and you're buying a home, what do you do? At that point, you should have an executed agreement of sale. And it is that agreement of sale that we at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement need to get our file opened up. As a buyer, under an agreement of sale, you're going to ask me, what are my typical closing costs? So as a buyer in the transaction, you are going to be responsible for the title insurance premium, which is regulated by the Pennsylvania Insurance Department. And that is a fee that covers the title search, title insurance, and our settlement fees. That fee is set across Pennsylvania, so any licensed title insurance agent should be charging you the same premium, whether you're using Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement or another title company. The other fees that you would be paying as a buyer in the transaction would be any recording costs, which can go from $100 to $250. You're responsible for 1% of the transfer tax, which is 1% based on the purchase price. We have typically in an agreement of sale a standard allocation of closing costs, prorations. So your real estate taxes would be prorated, and any lienable utilities would be prorated as of the date of settlement. Finally, there would be some maybe miscellaneous closing costs, notary fees, depending on whether or not there's any overnight mail charges or document fees. There could be just a few ancillary closing costs on the buyer's side. As the buyer, you're working with, in a cash transaction, typically on a for sale by owner, you might just be working with me as the title company. And a purchase with a lender, you could be working with me and a lender in the transaction. And then if there are any realtors, there could be lenders involved in the transaction. Another question I get is, how do I know what the value of a home is worth? And again, we can look at that from a couple different angles. So, as the Schuylkill County Treasurer, we have a property record card that you can go onto the courthouse website, and it will give you an assessed value. So that assessed value is basically used to calculate how we base real estate taxes based on the county, the municipal, and the school district millages. That assessed value can be looked at as a guide for a value, and we have a formula that the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue puts out each year where we take an assessed value times a Department of Revenue formula and come up with a fair market value. So right now in Schuylkill County, our fair market value is 3.12%. So if you want to just use some round numbers, I have an assessed value of $20,000, common level ratio is 3. That gives you a fair market value of $60,000. Now that's a value that the county has established based on what they believe real estate taxes should be paid on that property. However, based on my experience, I find that number to probably be on the low side. So then what we can look to do is you can look to contact a licensed appraiser in the state of Pennsylvania, and they can do an appraisal for you. So we have a couple good friends here in Tamaqua that do some appraisal work. Tammy Sword up in Hometown will do some appraisal work. Tammy McHugh is in the Tamaqua area doing some appraisal work. Sellers can do an appraisal before they get the property on the market to give them some kind of idea of what they want to sell the property for. On a buyer's side, typically your lender is going to be doing an appraisal because they want to guarantee that the money that they're lending to you is going to be less than that appraised value. So we have a couple things to look at in terms of value, and I always kind of come across this funny little comic where, if you are looking at values, if I'm the property owner, I want to look at it from a low perspective on the county assessment because I want my taxes to be low. If I'm on the selling side, I want it to be high because I want to get a good value for my property. And probably if I'm buyer, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. So you can get different types of values on properties, again, based on various things related to the property, whether it's the land, whether it's the house, how the interior is built. And I'm not an appraiser. They have their own license and they have their own area of specialty that they're the ones to go to if you're looking for any kind of information on value of your house. Why do you need an experienced licensed title insurance agent like Linda Marchak here at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement? My 35 years experience between a legal background and a real estate and title background make me qualified for my job. I try to troubleshoot problems. We try to find solutions. We get you to settlement. We don't want delays or excuses. We want to get everybody to the settlement table, because ultimately then the buyer has got their dream property that they've wanted. And then at that point, once we get to closing, it's payday for everybody. It's payday for the sellers, it's payday for the realtors, payday for the lenders, payday for us at the title company. And we're not out here working for free. We all want a paycheck at the end of the week come Friday. And that's what it's all about. So let's take a break, and we will come back with more information on residential and commercial real estate closings here in Pennsylvania. Welcome back to the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show. I'm Linda Marchak, President of Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, and I'm also your Schuylkill County Treasurer. So as we talked earlier in our show about real estate purchases, sales, refinances, real estate is a very important life-changing decision that you're going to be faced with. And it's one of the biggest decisions that you're going to make. So I encourage all of you to pick up the phone and call somebody like Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement and Linda Marchak, who's experienced at handling real estate closings. Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement has the experience. We can answer all of your questions. The initial phone call is no charge. You're under no obligation to use our services, but we will walk you through some of the steps that we reviewed earlier. You can go to our website at www.northeastpasettlement.com and review our general company information. We've reviewed some key issues today, and we covered a lot of information between commercial, residential, and vacant land purchases. We covered cash transactions, purchases with lenders, refinances. We went through the process very quickly. So if there's anything that is very specific to your needs and your questions and what's going on in your life, we're here to help you. My tagline on Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement is exceeding your settlement expectations. So as I mentioned earlier in the show, we are not an 8 to 5 title company. We are flexible with our hours. We are flexible in our scheduling. We understand the demands and needs of jobs and schedules and work and family. So we adapt to our clients, and we adapt to the closing dates that our clients have set before us to close on time, to close without problems, and to handle your closing very smoothly. Thank you, and stay tuned for another show of Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement.